Can you be quiet? Thank you. Hello, this is Mark Wildman of Wildman Athletica, and we have the dogs here with us today. Anna, come here. Anna, yes. Oh, you're such a good girl. And Max, who's back there being a monster. And today we are backlit. Let's see if we can't rotate this and get less backlight. Max, come here. Hey, Maxie. Hey, you leave those bunnies alone. Killing me. Monsters, absolute monsters. Yes, so Lana. Sorry, we are in full dog mode over here. These dogs have not yet had this, and they're letting me know that they are very displeased with the situation. How's that? Is that better with the backlight, guys? Max! Lana, stop. Max! We're just going to have to let Max go crazy with it over here. Max, come here. Hey. Hey, dummy, come here. Come here. Sit down. Sit your butt down. Okay. All right, guys. No. Pause. Go lay down. Okay, so we have had lots of dog stuff here. The dogs are completely nuts right now. They're big German shepherds, and they are very testy. Shout out Steve Kubin. Thought I was supposed to be diseased. Yeah, I was. And I woke up this morning and I was fine. So that's the way it goes for me normally. We had a bit of a health issue. That's why we've been down on videos for the past couple of days. I don't even know how long it's been. Last time we did a live, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the importance of going out and seeking training, specifically going to seminars. And I went to a seminar in Atlanta, a very, 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 very well-structured and good seminar called Speak Easy, which is about more like corporate presentation, not really something that I need, but something that a friend recommended to me. And in my efforts to get back into going to at least 2 seminars a year, I worked on going to a seminar. So we're there with people from like Halliburton and Shell and Disney and a bunch of people from South African country, but lovely people, 3 people there from the government oil industry. And I'm the only guy there representing myself and how to talk to groups of people better. Great thing for me to know. I've been teaching like maybe 14, but there's always more you can learn about a particular topic. And this one was very much about more of a stage presentation of communicating ideas. Absolutely fantastic. They have locations around the world: Atlanta, Chicago, San Francisco. They have some in the Middle East. I believe they have Dubai location, and they have very, very, very good. They're like the leader in teaching people to communicate more effectively in corporate environments. So that was an absolutely very, very good seminar for me to take. What I like to do when I go, they present and organize information and then how they run their drills. This one was very good. There were 9 people in the class, 10 people max. And you work through, they have you get up and they have you talk about something that's not related to your field. And then they put you on camera. They have you work on it. They have 4 key coaching points that they work on. I'm not going to give away their content here, but there are 4 key coaching points that they work on, which I thought was really, really well structured to get public speaking down to 4 major points and 4 coachable ideas. I thought was absolutely incredible. They have you work through talking about different things in front of people, and then they put you on camera, and then they remove the sound from the video, which I thought was an excellent learning technique to see how you're presenting and how you're standing and all these other things that are part of communication that aren't really taught to normal people anymore. If you went back 100 years ago, you probably would have found this in debate class or public speaking class. You certainly still find this in private school education and things like that. But the majority of it, very well structured. The instructor and me got along very well because he recognized that I was analyzing the shit out of everything that they did and taking notes on how he's structuring his coaching cues and what he is doing with them, and then how they're rotating and engaging people in the class. So one seminar down, very good. On the way back from that seminar, there was a girl on the plane who was very, very ill. And I was like, well, there it is. I'm definitely going to get ill from that. I came back, and I only went to the shop where my buddy is, Night FX. I stay away from gyms and everything else like that. And just let myself go through. And I got a headache one day, and it didn't go anywhere. Took my temperature, did everything, was fine. 2 days later, after that, I got hit like a freight train. I came back from the shop at about 10 p.m. at night, went to bed 10:30, woke up at 8, felt absolutely terrible, and then got worse and worse over the course of the day. Just 8 to 12, body's not doing great. 12 to about 6 was really, really rough. And I was going in and out of hot, cold cycles as your body's trying to burn off whatever it's got. And so I was down for about really, really hard for about 2 days. It's very rare for me to be down really hard. I haven't been down that hard since maybe 2017. No respiratory issues, not COVID, none of that stuff. And then a day after I got back up and moving, my voice disappeared entirely. And so I was calling it the Planet of the Apes flu. If anybody remembers the remake of Planet of the Apes, they create a virus which makes chimps smarter and eventually takes away people's ability to speak, thus explaining the original Planet of the Apes from the 1960s with Charlton Heston. So I was joking that it was that. And I just didn't talk for 24 to 36 hours. I was just texting everybody and texting people that I was standing there with. But now my voice is back. It came back about midday yesterday. It started to come back. I did a couple of test words. I talked to a friend for about 5 minutes last night, and I got up today, went through, did 10 minutes of Mace 360s nonstop, then did a swing program, 2-hand, and then I moved on from there. So we did Mace. Come over here. No, do not yell at those. Come over here. No, do not yell at those. There are squirrels and rabbits around here which are intentionally torture this dog named Max. And he knows it. Hey, why don't you let people see you on camera? Bring your big face up here. No? Yeah, put it right up here. Yeah. No, we're not holding hands. We're not holding hands, and I'm not gonna. No. Don't eat my arm either. So we did get sick, but we have videos that we have backed up. Continuing on with our Intro to Kettlebell series. The Intro to Kettlebell series is where we are trying to lay out kettlebells in a logical manner so that anybody in the world can learn from the ground up. Start with picking up a kettlebell, get to the most important part, and then at certain points in that program, you could deviate off into doing real kettlebell training, kettlebell swings programs, kettlebell clean and press programs, etc. So we're going to get back on that, and right now we're starting what I call the Turkish get-up section of learning, where we start progressing through Turkish get-ups one step at a time. We will start at the top down. The first video for that was out, and it is step back lunge, and then we are going to break down a couple of versions of step back lunges. Yes. And then we'll flip it. We'll go down to the ground. We'll start working our way back up. Conveniently, this is going to end up lining up with the release of our Turkish Get Up Master Program, which is going to come out hopefully on the 28th of September. That is, yes, thank you. Hopefully that is, what day is it? It's the 21st, so in about a week. So hopefully next Wednesday or Thursday, we're going to have the Turkish Get Up out. It's in edit hardcore now. The editing's not the problem. Really, color correction is the problem because it takes a lot of computing power to color correct that much stuff. So just by happy circumstance, the basic kettlebell videos that we're doing on YouTube and the Turkish Get Up Master Program are going to line up. I'm going to start explaining what the Turkish Get Up Master Program is. Turkish Get Up Master Program is something that, once again, I wrote for clients who have limited. It's really for lighter weight, gentlemen, 12, 15, 16, up to about 24. You could run it all the way up to 32. But what it is 8 exercises, 7 exercises. 7 exercises times 5 levels. 35 is the complexity where we are working on individual pieces of the Turkish Get Up. We start from the top down, we go from the bottom up, and we do a big section of focusing on the Turkish Get Up in the middle. And the idea is that if you have, say, a 1 light weight or 3 light weights, that you can start and run that program and get all the movement benefits from Turkish Get Up, but stretching that program out into 28 minutes per day, and then building it up over levels. So it's very much the design strategy that I really like. It's once again part of the Tetris of training idea. Connection is not ideal. What? This thing's not even telling me what my connection is right now. I have full connection. I have full signal. And here, guys, let's see if this works. Tell me if that helps with connection or not. I shut off my Wi-Fi. The Turkish Get Up Master Program. It's the audio, Mark. Dropping frames and sound funky. Sounds distant and choppy. How is that even possible? I think you fixed it. All right, well, we're going to keep going and see if that fixed it or not. If it didn't fix it, we'll talk about it all again later. I can do another live tomorrow. The Turkish Get Up Mastery Program is meant to help people work at those places in the middle and to help people stretch out that Turkish Get Up phase of training. The problem that most people have with Turkish Get Ups is that they do it for 3 months and they think that they're done with Turkish Get Ups, and they're not. Turkish Get Ups are getting up off of the ground, and getting up off the ground is a basic human skill, and you should work on it forever. So we take basic Get Up movements and we rip them apart and we create whole programs around them so you can run them in cycles. So currently we have our Bodyweight 101 program, which is kind of the basics of bodyweight get-ups. We have Krav Get Up 1, which is breaking down getting up without weight. This Turkish Get Up program will add 5 more programs to getting up, this time with weight, and we're going to keep building out these ideas. Turkish Get Up just the one that happens to come out right now. Yes, thank you. So what we're doing is we're lining up all of these programs into a big series of ideas. We also shot and are going to edit after Turkish Get Up an intro program that goes back before this. And the idea is to completely fill out everything people need to get into and have an 8-year successful program with kettlebelling. So we had swings, which I wanted to get out first because I think that that's the most important thing. Then clean and press after that. Then after that, Turkish Get Up. These are the things that I consider to be the absolute most important. Then we're going to go back and we're going to fill in one step before swings and clean and press for people who are probably watching this live. It's probably not for them, but it's there's at least 80 million people in North America who could benefit from that program where you're learning to just pick up a kettlebell. So we're taking basic introductory drills and turning them into a repeatable program. Once again, a 5-level program, and it could be done 2 to 5 days a week. So as it stands, we're building out the idea. Training for overweight individuals, introduction to kettlebell, that branches off into swings and clean and press. Those tail into 5 levels of Turkish Get Up training. Then that's going to lead into a couple of different types of squat programs. Just a basic easy deck squat program, which is once again getting up off of the ground. Once again, getting up in part of a roll. That program will eventually link into a get over program, which will be getting over rails and 42-inch or obstacles. But that's linking in. If you're going to do the get over program, you should know the deck squat program first. then just a basic squat program and into a front squat program, and then after that we're going to have a snatch program. That is going to be our core basic kettlebell training, and then after that it's going to branch off into 4 different types of training. Double kettlebell monster lift, double kettlebell bodybuilding, kettlebell metcon in 2 different formats, time under tension, and crazy numbers. And and then after that, getting into marathon training and everything else like that. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Ron. Thank you. No, Max, we cannot come over here and yell at us. No, there will be no yelling. Neither. We are working on all of those ideas and having all of those ideas build out. I would like to get started on redoing our club series coming out as well. That is hopefully going to start next week or the beginning of October, where we are going to start teaching clubs over again in a logical manner. That is a lot harder to do than it is with kettlebells. Kettlebells is a very easy progression forward. Clubs can be taught in a myriad of ways because they're so complex. I'm going to start teaching them in families of complexity and working them up. Max is killing me here. Max has to show off when I'm out here because he wants everybody to know that he's a great protector. Come here. Come here. Stop whining like a little girl. He's a whiner. Yeah. All right. So now that we've chatted about everything that is happening, let's start talking about things that are also, let's start answering some questions. First things first, though, we are flying to FlowShala tomorrow to teach a club and Mace seminar with Summer Huntington. We're not doing the staff this time around. We want to focus on getting more to the club and the Mace content. So our next Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday will be all dedicated to that. And then that's going to then build out is a test program to make sure that we have all of our coaching cues in order for teaching in London next year. We have seminars coming up in January and in February next year, and then we're going to keep adding on top of that. Very loud motorcycle just went by. Sounds like my motorcycle. Better not be my motorcycle. You guys are going to have to just lay down. These guys are killing me. All right, let's actually answer some questions here. Yes, Senile Canuck. Yes, the dogs get very unhappy when I talk to people who are not them. They're running around, and they're going to try to eat each other at every point. They also try to murder each other for my affection, which is always funny, so I have to separate them out. Max, come over here. We're going to have to just get Max and drag him over with us. You come here. Sit down. Sit your butt down. Sit down. Hey, sit down. Hey, this guy, he just has way too much energy right now for being a big old fatty. He couldn't walk up the hill yesterday when I took him for a walk. He just needs to sit down, but he doesn't want to. Let's pick a couple of questions here. We're not going to get to these things in order or everything because the dogs are being extremely distracting. Dogs' names are Lana and Max. She's a Belgian Shepherd, and she is very, very pretty. We call her the model. She's also mean to Max in particular. Max is a rescue that we got during COVID. These are my buddy's dogs, but I'm the co-parent of these monsters. I take them with me places, and I do half dog duty with them. And they constantly battle for who gets to be my best friend, which is very typical of dogs. Let's pick a question here. These guys are super distracting. Okay, so it got markedly better when I pushed that button. This is a fun one. Shock 53. Do I have any experience or thoughts on landmine attachment? Landmine is awesome. Specifically, Landmine University is an absolutely fantastic educational source for helping people actually learn what to do with landmine training. It's really simple. It is a version of clean and press. And if you have run a clean and press kettlebell program and a club program, then throwing in landmine is an absolutely excellent idea. There was one at the gym, and I was going through Landmine University's basic core movements the other day with it, just as a time under tension protocol. Absolutely fantastic. I can see how you could really rack that up in weight and really get a lot out of landmine attachments. There are some fairly common man ways to do it as well. There are landmine attachments that you can just get on Amazon, which is just a pivot point that you put that fits inside of like a 45-pound plate. So you put two 45-pound plates down on the ground, you drop the landmine attachment in, put the barbell in, and you have a landmine that you could actually use at home. It is one of the ways that I think that using barbells in something like a small home or in a flat or an apartment, it would actually be usable because once again, it's stable. It doesn't take up much space. You put it in the corner. You can add plates to it very slowly, and you don't drop the weight. So for the most part, you don't drop the weight unless you're really pushing it. But you're not supposed to be dropping the weight all that much in landmine. So landmine is one of those things which I think is actually a really good idea. It meets all the requirements that we have. It is relatively cheap, it doesn't take up much space, and it's very easy to work on the most important things. With Landmine, specifically Landmine University, they do a lot of clean, they do a lot of rolling the body to activate specific lines of the body. They're the same lines of the body that you would activate if you were doing kettlebell clean and press, clean and jerk, all those other things, but they're turning it more into a split jerk idea where they're alternating feet in power formats. Absolutely fantastic stuff. So the landmine attachments years ago were so expensive you couldn't get them. Now they're like $40. They're incredibly cheap. So if you have a bar and some plates lying around in the garage and you want something to do with them, get a landmine attachment and start doing Landmine University stuff. Eventually, I can write a version of that if people want that. And write time under tension and pure strength versions of that training. It's really easy. It's the same as writing a kettlebell program, just done in a slightly different way. It's actually a really good idea. I should do that. I should write it down just for my own sake, to organize the information and organize my thought process on it. Landmines are a great, excellent way to get a lot out of barbells in a non-traditional barbell sense while putting it into movement training and replicating all of the movement patterns that you would do with kettlebells in a different angle. Changing angle of attack on things changes how your body functions. Joint angle determines muscle firing is something we say a lot. And so landmine's a very good idea. Dan, Tyson Henry. Dan John talked about using a cup of water balanced on your knuckles for Turkish get-up. If you spill the water, you need to do better. Excellent idea. It's a classic idea that is built on a couple of things you used to do. Like, I think that we used to do this with driving. Some guys used to do this where they would drive cars and they would put a cup of water on the dash, and if they got water on the dash, then they weren't driving smooth enough. That's something that precision drivers use a lot. And teacups are something that's used in martial arts. There's a version of that in the Strong and Fit Mobility program, daily mobility program. Same idea where you put a cup of tea in your hand and you do a specific series of movements, and if you lose the tea, then you're not doing it right yet. So excellent idea from Dan John. Pretty question. After almost a year of basic training, I've noticed my arms grow, mainly the triceps. Any recommendations for growing biceps? He has a 15, 20-pound club, 15-pound mace, 10, 15, 20 kilogram kettlebell. This is from Luis Fernando Urangue Hernandez. God, what a great name. Yeah, get bigger weight. If you are at a 15 and 20-pound club, you need to be running up to at least single arm 25, and your arms will get markedly bigger. And you need to be running your two-handed club training program up to a 45. I say 50 for people, but most people have access to a 45. If you do those two things on accident, you will get very, very nice arms. Absolutely no problem at all. Running single arm club program up to 25, you will get more biceps and triceps. This is different than what most people want in pretty training. If you wanted to take the muscle that you built from that, there is no better way to develop arms, base arms, than single arm club and two-handed club training. Heavier weights, shorter levers, more muscle. Mace tends to make people's arms longer and thinner for the same weight somehow. So first things first, you need to be doing your two-handed club program. You need to be going up towards 45, 50. Boom. You'll have a really good base of arms. Lots of triceps, lots of forearms, and long biceps. If you wanted to get peakier biceps, which is something some people want. Not a lot of people in my demographics want peakier biceps because it makes it harder to get into costume clothes. They just want to have good, solid arms and bigger forearms. But peakier biceps, then you would do a decline bench, leaning forward, hanging arm curls from there in order to get more peak on the arms. But you would do your club program first, do the most important thing first. The 20-minute version of the program or the 28-minute version of the program, which will be out on Halloween, push it towards 50 pounds. At the end of that day, then you could put in 3 sets of, let's say, 60 seconds of alternating bicep curls on a forward-leaning bench with a 2-minute break in order to maximize your bicep gains on that. For the most part, almost nobody ever does that because it's super annoying after really pushing the weight on clubs. But that is something that can be done easily. But your main goal is to get above those light weights that you have, Louise. 15 and 20-pound club for two-handed is not heavy at all. You need to be pushing up 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Then we talk about adding muscle to the arms, and you need to get your single arm program 15, 20, 25 at least. Most people aren't going to have access to a 30, but at least a 25. Then you will have much, much, much more in the way of arms. Clint Engel question. Is there a benefit to light Indian clubs, say 2 to 4 pounds? Absolutely. Light Indian clubs have an insanely high level of complexity in my world and the circus world that turned into high levels of complexity. We see it in poise swinging, but it's the exact same thing as light club swinging. And it's endurance, full range of motion of the shoulders, double shoulders with no let up. So people's shoulder girls does get very strong. Here's always the question, what is your cost-benefit ratio with something like light clubs? I don't teach light clubs to people who come to me for training because it's a lot of time for a little bit of benefit, whereas if I teach them heavy single-arm clubs, we don't get the movement complexity the same way, but most of my clients are getting movement complexity from something else, from something like dance or from something like stunt training. So, but light heavy club is totally beneficial and totally worth your time. Starting at 1 minute, building up to say 20 minutes on top, taking it to a 2-pound club, getting up into the range of 5-pound clubs. The shape of a light club tends to be different. They tend to work much better with wooden clubs than with metal clubs for that type of complexity of movement, but then they add complexity forever. My problem with light club swinging has always been that it's been based on that late 1800s model stance and posture, and it's taken out the real leg movement stuff. The stuff that you see with fancy mace swinging, or steel mace flow, as it is called, steel mace flow, get these words right, is you get a lot of that same complexity of movement, but you get it with hand changes with a heavier load, but you get back into the stepping patterns of it. Stepping patterns seem to me to be oftentimes very much left out of light club swinging. So there's a cost-benefit analysis. I do see some very, very good light club swingers. There's a couple on Instagram that I follow, and I love to watch their stuff. It's just something that I personally don't have time to work with, and it's not something I put into programs for a lot of people. She knows that here. Because you'd have to have a lot more time. So, is it worth it? Absolutely. Do I think you should do it? If you have the time for it, 100%. Oftentimes, people who are older, it works very well, who need to really work on reestablishing good posture and good shoulder girdle movement. You would do like a heavy two-handed club program 2 days a week, and you would work on, say, light club swinging as a warm-up for 10 to 20 minutes and work on it as a way to increase learning capacity by learning increasing complex patterns, get the shoulders moving, and then go into heavy club swinging after that. JNDQ, JNDQ, don't know how to say that. How would you approach kettlebell and heavy club program with hypermobility and overall strength longevity goals? Hypermobility to me means circus contortionist. I don't know what hypermobility means to you. To me, it means circus contortionist or prima ballerina. Somebody who can overextend their legs from years and years and years of training. A lot of times people mean hypermobility, they mean just elbow. For the most part, I don't change a lot of stuff. The things don't change, it just changes on what you need to focus on. Usually people who are hypermobile in the back get really, really over into extension, and their glutes tend to shut off and they tend to crunch their spine. So the way that it would work is you would do your kettlebells, your clubs, that doesn't change, but you would do a lot more hanging leg raises and things like that to counteract the overmobility of the back and the dumping of the core. That's usually how I deal with it, but that's the way I've dealt with it with circus performer populations and aerialist populations in the past. Usually hypermobile people rely on their mobility as performance, as trick, and they do it to the exclusion of everything else. You know, normally a contortionist has just absolutely shockingly bad running patterns and shockingly horrific lifting patterns. So just teaching them to do something like a kettlebell swing, squeeze the glutes, stand all the way up without actually going into extension. Oftentimes you would do a swing program. Instead of doing your 10-minute swing program, you would turn it into a 20-minute program, and you would do swings, hanging leg raises or hanging knees to elbow, and then swings, then hanging knees to elbow, swings, hanging knees to elbow, so that you're working opposite muscle groups. Oftentimes when people are hypermobile, they get into that extension, they try to do swings, they lean back too far, they crunch their back, they shut off their glutes. By counteracting that, by going the other way, knees to elbow, it goes back and forth, and it helps them relearn what the middle of their movement pattern should be, and then allows them to get strong from there. Same thing can be done with squats and swings for them as well, where it would be swings or snatches, and then alternate it with squats, front-loaded, and then once again, you're working on balancing out that extension of the spine. People who are hypermobile tend to extend everything a lot, and that causes them problems. So you have to then do an equal and opposite amount of flexion movements on the other side, depending on what the most important thing is. usually the most important thing is lower back and core. So normally it's something like hanging leg raises or front-loaded squats or deck squats. I hope I answered that question well. Iggy Vasconcelos. Iggy Vasconcelos. First off, thank you for teaching me how to properly use kettlebell. You're welcome, Iggy. Is it safe to do a kettlebell HIIT workout 7 days a week? Sure. I mean, you can. I tell people max out at 6 days a week. You should have 1 day of rest. It's hard for people who really enjoy kettlebelling. Like, I have a hard time when I'm back east and I'm not doing stuff like I do in LA. In LA, your days are full, so you're just trying to get in what you have to do. Back east, you have a lot more time to stand around and think after you clean the barn or whatever. So I tend to like wake up and try to work out even before I go to church on Sunday. But I got to pick 1 day where I don't work out. I try to make that like Saturday. I try to go and ride a dirt bike or something stupid like that instead. Iggy, can you send me a YouTube video on the workout that you're using? Sure. You guys can send me videos on Instagram, tag me on things. You could make YouTube videos or YouTube channels and put things up and send me links or whatever. There's a lot of stuff that's out there, so I have a hard time keeping track of absolutely everything. It's very, very hard to keep track of all the stuff that people send me, correspondence, working on all these other ideas. So I don't get to absolutely everything, but I try to get to as many things as I possibly can. And Iggy, if you want to tell me who's doing your program design, are you writing your own programs or are you doing somebody else's program? If you're doing somebody else's program, I prefer that you not put up their intellectual content in a public forum for analysis, but if you're writing your own stuff, then sure. That would be great. Kenny is looking forward to the Expanded Club series. Everybody is. I mean, I wrote that Expanded Club series, got to be 10 years ago now. Nothing that was out in the market when I was doing clubs met the needs of all of my clients, so I re-engineered a club program for actors and models and everybody else into a very short period of time with minimum equipment that could travel around the world. So I took a 20-minute program design that most people do. I do have some 20-minute program design, some mill squat program, and I expanded it out into a 28 or a 32-minute based on what the client was doing. The one that we have that we shot is a 32-minute program, and it is meant to complement the mill squat program, and it's taking a bunch of other basic movements and combining them together in different ways. The goal is just, there's an infinite amount of stuff you can do with a club, but we try to pick the things that we think are the most important and then organize that into training so that people can track their data and compare it over time, because I think that that's important. That's something that's really lacking in things like flow art, is an ability to track and have a baseline of information as people move forward through training. This Yoyana M person is really just chatting it up in the comment section. J. Smith Hill, great name. Question on static lunges. Should we drive the rear heel to the ground at the top? That depends on what style of static lunge you're doing. I don't do that because driving your heel to the ground causes people to shift back and changes the stance in their lead leg. So when I teach static lunges, I, a long time ago, made a choice to teach it lead leg drive, rear heel, heel driving up off of the ground as hard as possible, because I want people to work on that mobility in their foot. A lot of people don't have a lot of mobility in their foot from not being barefoot for long periods of time in their life, from wearing static shoes. So it's one of those things that I use, which I don't talk about a lot, but static lunge is designed to do Three things. It's designed to teach people balance. It's designed to teach people the actual distance of their lunge that they're shooting for in step forward and step back lunges by, at the bottom of the movement, having 90 degrees in the lead leg and the rear leg. And then as we drive up, I want people to drive their heel off of the ground and tip forward in order to try to stretch their calf and mobilize their foot. A lot of the stuff that we teach is flat-footed because a lot of the stuff we teach is trying to get people to fire the arches of their feet. Kettlebell, we teach in the beginning, feet pointed straight ahead, heels flat on the ground, clean and press, snatch, squat. We all teach that way. Our introduction to heavy clubs, we also teach feet, same coaching cues, pointed straight ahead, flat on the ground. A lot of people in the modern world have really bad arches, and that leads to bad ankles, and that leads to bad knees, and that leads to hips, and then that leads to low back pain. So in the beginning, we try to focus very heavily on flat feet, feet pointed straight ahead, so the arches have an opportunity to learn to fire, so the ankle gets stronger, knee gets stronger, hip gets stronger, back gets stronger. That static lunge is where we start breaking out of that, and we start isolating that rear foot, drive the heel as hard as you can to work on getting back towards an athletic running position with that rear leg. It's an introduction to the idea, but it's hidden inside of all of that in the little details of the overall idea. Siddhartha Palakode. Been using kettlebells with some cable work. I'm still stuck in the skinny fat build. Any advice? Without that information, I have no idea what you're doing. What are you doing with kettlebells? It really helps the more information you give me. How much swings have you done? What weight are you on in swings? How far through that progression are you? Where are you in your clean and press? I don't know how you can be skinny fat if you're doing your clean and press program with a 70-pound kettlebell. If you do your swings and you run your clean and press program through all of your weights to get to 5 sets of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 with a 70-pound weight, there's no way you can be skinny fat. If you're still skinny fat and then you run your two-handed club program to 50 pounds, at that point, that is nothing but a hard gainer program. Swings, clean and press, and two-handed club program, no squat up to 50 pounds. There's absolutely no way you can fail to succeed because every one of those exercises stresses every muscle in your body in an increasingly heavy way. There's no way out. What are you doing with cables? Are you doing chest flies with cables? Are you doing single-sided kneeling lat pull downs? The only good cable exercise that I like for that because it's directly related to circus. Are you doing wood choppers, low to high, high to low? More information is better, so you need to provide me with more information on that if you would like to get more recommendations on what needs to happen. Stephen K. Mark, what are your thoughts on what is called kettlebell thrusters? Kettlebell front squat with press at the top. They're great. I don't care for them. Kettlebell thrusters are really, really big in CrossFit because they're pure power exercise where you start at the bottom and you pure power out. Absolutely excellent athletic development exercise. Doing it with double kettlebells is an absolute crusher. And it is an absolutely fantastic way to train. I used to do them, 10 years ago. I don't do them a lot anymore. Now I prefer something like Dan John's ABC Armored Building Complex, double clean, 1 press 3 squat, and I prefer long cycle much more. I do a lot of double front squat stuff, but I don't do a lot of thrusters. Are they an absolute fantastic athletic developers? Yes. Do I care for them? Not really. I'd much rather do long cycle and then double front squat. But that's just me. I'm not training for something that needs that type of square explosive power. Is it a good idea? Absolutely. Max. Hey. Come here. You don't need to bark at everything. Sit. No, don't you guys fight. Get out of here. So thrusters, love them, hate them. They're brutal. Getting down low as possible is the really key to doing them well. Elbows track all the way inside knees. Single arm, double arm versions, all fantastic. I just haven't run training cycles on them in about 10 years because I think that over time, I think there's better ways to do things. Badar Hajali. Badar. Don't know the context of that name, so I don't know how to pronounce that A. When would you recommend somebody start with your swing program? Immediately. People who come into my gym or who used to come into my gym, we would look at their movement on the first day and they would start a swing program the first day in the gym. It's the absolute fastest way to provide people benefit in the least amount of time. There is nothing faster than swings to get people started. I went to Gold's Gym over here in Los Angeles. If everybody in that gym took 10 minutes every day out of their 2-hour workout to do a swing program, everybody in that gym would look different. Swing program is easy, it's cheap, and the sooner you start it, the better off you are. If you understand the basics of athletic movement and you can stand up, then you should start a swing program. I am writing something that goes before the swing program so that there will be an extra option to help people learn to stand up better, but standing up is the limiting factor. Even if people don't stand up all the way, I oftentimes teach people to stand up by doing the swing program. There's nothing better or faster than the swing program for getting people the most in the least amount of time. I've been searching for 15 years to find a better answer, a faster, more effective, more economical answer, and thus far it has eluded me. What do you think about using squat shoes or squat wedges for Bodyweight 101? Question from KM. Squat shoes, you mean like Olympic shoes, like Olympic lifting shoes? I don't think that that's really necessary. Bodyweight 101 is really designed to be done barefoot, but if you wanted to use a foam incline wedge, pointing your toes up to do things like bodyweight squats and lunges, that would be fine, or angling your foot down. Absolutely, totally love the idea if your arch is fire and you're pointing your feet straight ahead. If you are turning your foot out, then I would not recommend you get on any type of wedge yet at all, because that will exacerbate the movement of your ankle. Oftentimes, I will have people repeat entire training cycles on wedges. Foam wedges, squat wedges are, once again, something that's cheap, light, easy to carry around, and can be used very effectively. You can repeat your entire mill squat program on a slope, incline slope for your ankles. You can do it with a swing program, but once again, your feet really, really, really have to be pointing straight ahead. Your clean and press program, this helps people get more length in portions of their calf and move their ankle better, especially for people who have frozen ankles who have like really chronic tightness in their calves. Excellent idea. Stephen K. Question. I've noticed that when I teach single arm swings, I teach some down vertical handle, but many online demo a horizontal handle. Is there advantage to the thumb down, or is it just your preference? The advantage of the thumb down is that you don't break your elbow if you mess something up. Your elbow bends this way, so the easiest way to coach people is to tell them thumb down. If you look at something like Landmine University, when they're in their pull position, they're doing the same exact thing, and they're rotating differently at the top. You're also creating the beginning of spiral movement by training the thumb down. Thumb down, when you do the clean, creates a spiral in your arm, and then when you do the clean and press, you create a spiral on top of a spiral. So it does a couple of things. Thumb down vertical handle is a very easy coaching cue to get people to do, and it makes people understand what they are doing to help them be safe. It also preps them later on to start doing spiral-based movements, and almost all movements in athletics are spiral-based movements. Throwing baseballs, spiral-based movements, throwing punches, turning your hand over, spiral-based movements. There's spiral-based movements in almost everything because that's the way that the muscle chains in the body work. So by coaching that vertical handle thumb down, we are preparing people to understand the concepts later on and to be as safe as possible. No skills. Hey, Mark, can I get more fit than a general CrossFit athlete with only the kettlebell basics? And can I use the kettlebell basics for the strength and conditioning of my boxing? Thank you, sir. No skills. Interesting, super interesting question. Can you get more fit than a general CrossFit athlete with only kettlebell basics? How do you define more fit? Will you be able to compete with CrossFit athletes at CrossFit? Absolutely not, because CrossFit is a sport that has specific movement patterns that you need to be good at. If you're talking about your overall endurance capacity and the ability of your heart to recover, then absolutely. There is a reason kettlebell lifting was designed and kettlebell sport training was designed, is because it is one of the absolute best ways to make people be fittest in the shortest period of time with the least amount of equipment. CrossFit is not weighed with the least amount of equipment equation. Their movement patterns are based on things that they have. They're based on getting muscle ups, getting Olympic lifting, rowing machines, running, all these other things. If you want to be more fit and you are a boxer, I cannot think of a better thing to teach you than kettlebell basics. There's an 8-year program in there. Swings, clean and press, Turkish get up, breakdown, your deck squats, all of that will build your core in a way that's absolutely hyper-specific to the body structure of boxing. Elbows in. Elbows in is very different than what they're doing in CrossFit, which is elbows out. CrossFit is awesome. I love my CrossFit friends. CrossFit movement patterns do not accidentally mimic the movement patterns of fighting. Kettlebells on accident, just by doing single arm clean and press program and then moving into single arm clean and jerk program, long cycle competition training will make you a better boxer on accident. It will not make you a bigger boxer, but that if you're in boxing, then you have weight classes. Your goal isn't to gain 50 pounds for the most part. The other thing would be club swinging and mace swinging. Heavy club swinging, single arm club swinging will make you hit harder. It is the exact muscle chain firing patterns for inside circle, outside circle, shield cast, pendulums, alternating circles, mill and reverse mill. That sets you up as a boxer to hit harder. Absolutely no way out of it. And it will minimize all of your shoulder injury. CrossFit is not great at minimizing shoulder injury for the most part because that is not what they are doing. They are not training to hit things harder. They are training to do CrossFit better. So you have to be careful about what your question says when you're saying more fit. As a boxer, how you would get more fit as a boxer would definitely be single body, cross body loading, movement patterns, leverage weight swinging, and then doing your boxing. Building up your time under tension into half marathon time frames with a kettlebell, learning to not put it down in your boxing stance could not get more specific to your sport. So do I think that you can become more fit than a general CrossFit person? Heart rate wise, movement wise, endurance wise, absolutely. Does that mean you'll be able to do CrossFit? Not at all. But as you said, you're a boxer. Your goal isn't to do CrossFit. Your goal is to box. There is no better solution on the planet than kettlebells and clubs for fighters. There isn't one. It does not exist. There is no way to design a better program from an engineering perspective than what exists with kettlebells and clubs. That was a great question. Absolutely fantastic question. Let's find another one here. Will S, do Mace bells complement someone who does hypertrophy-based workouts 3 times a week, filling for another 2 days, aesthetics being the main goal? What are the main muscle groups worked in terms of growth? Mace bells, depends on how you do them. Just by adding in Mace bells 360s 2 days a week into your hypertrophy program, you would definitely end up with a better overall aesthetic ideal. But it's a more of a classic ideal. Depends on how far you are in your bodybuilding training. It will make you move better. It will counteract all of the compression of the straight lines that you're doing in normal physique building, 100%. If you want to do Mace Flow will make you move better. The thing that I see, I went to Gold's Gym. What do I see? I see a bunch of dudes who can't turn left and can't stand all the way up. If everybody in there did swing program 2 to 3 days a week, they did deck squats and they did Mace 360s on top, like those are 10-minute things that they do, and then they can go do their hour and a half of aesthetics, they would all end up healthier, better, and more athletic than they could ever imagine. If you were limiting yourself to Mace though, you have a couple of strategies you could do. Just to do hypertrophy, you do build up to your 10-minute program of 360s, you start jacking that weight up. You're going to get arms, you're going to get shoulder cap. It's not the same type of shoulder cap. It'll be a different type of shoulder cap than you do with aesthetics. And it will be core, and it will be glute. You will stand up taller, no 2 ways about it. You would always do something like your swings, your deck squats, or your Mace bell at the beginning of your aesthetic training, not at the end. You use it more as a warm-up, and then you actually go to your full fatigue with the safety of your aesthetic training machines. You do your free weights first, and then you move to the hammer strength machines later because they're the safest. You can push the hardest to try and get the most growth. Mace is a total body movement thing. You can tailor it more towards certain types of things, but for the most part, think Mace bell. If you're doing standing 360s, think it's lats and arms. Lats, arms, forearms, like crazy. You could really put it on pull-up day, put it on your pull day. It could be swing, Mace 360s, then your deadlift, then get into your rows, then get into all your hammer strength machines, and your super wide grip stuff where you can actually push it to failure. Absolutely excellent idea. Kettlebell, like clean and press, should go on those other days. If you're an aesthetic guy, you should be doing a clean and press program. That's the first thing you do when you walk in the gym. Cross-body stabilization, stand all the way up, rack up in weight, start chasing that number up. Then you would go to your bench, then you would go to your incline bench, then you would go to your dumbbells, then you would go to your hammer strength machine. So you would start with the thing most likely to kill you and go to the thing least likely to kill you, which is the stablest thing where you can push the most weight. Once again, fun question. Absolutely, you should, if you are an aesthetic guy, you should still be doing maces and clubs and kettlebells. Absolutely. Aesthetic guys, you're already putting in a lot of time. You guys will put in an hour into just chest press, and that's if it's like on the clock. Like an easy way to do that would be to do a 2-minute or a 3-minute timer and set, let's say a 3-minute timer, set 15 rounds, that's 45 minutes, and you would do a heavy free weight and then a dumbbell and then one more thing, and you would turn that into a triple set, and you would do 5 sets of one thing, you would go to another block. Each block would be 15 minutes. You should have that clean and press at the beginning of all of that. You're still at an hour. Now you need to add your stretching, but absolutely. Kettlebells, clubs, and maces are the basis of bodybuilding, or they should be. The aesthetic stuff should stand on top of the functional, actual strength stuff that you should do, and then you will be better, you will move better, you will pose better because you will be more nimble, your muscle tissues will be different. That's easy training to organize, 100%. You should not take that stuff out, you should put it in. Good question today. Emeretta Robinson, is it common for a beginner kettlebell user to have moments during swings where the toes of one foot come off of the floor? I feel like focusing too much on driving forward with the heels on the floor. I feel like I focus too much on driving forward with the heels on the floor. Yeah, oftentimes people will have a foot that comes up, or they'll have a heel that tries to move when in the beginning. As people are learning to stand, most people stand 60% in one leg and 40% in the other leg, and one foot trying to move. Usually it's related to which hand is dominant, in my experience. And yes, in the beginning, people's feet do all kinds of weird things because their body doesn't know how to relax those other things as they're focusing on the swing in the beginning. Everybody who comes in, used to come into my studio, first thing we would talk about, feet pointed straight ahead. And you let people work through it. Their feet will do crazy stuff. One foot will lift up. One heel will try to pivot out. They'll do things like blocking the toes with plates, just so that if they lift their foot up, they'll feel the toe of their shoe drag across it, and it will give them biofeedback to let them know that they are not standing yet. Most people in the modern world don't stand well. Everything we do here is about teaching people how to stand better in a shorter period of time so they can have more athletic training on top of a better standing position. Looks like the dogs finally got sick of annoying the shit out of me and have gone to lay down. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Kind of getting messed up here with my question order. There's Matt whining again. Oh, they're back. They heard me talk about them. G-Dip. Question. Is there a stretch or exercise to get more glute activation on single arm kettlebell swings, as I don't feel I'm using them much, or is this just something that comes with time? Excellent question. In the beginning, a lot of people have a very hard time squeezing their glutes. Most people who live in the modern world, we sit down all the time. Most people's glutes don't fire. If their glutes don't fire, then other parts of their body try to do too much work, and they're back. Here's a big nose. Either their hamstrings are over dominant, or yes, Max, are you gonna come over here? So people don't whine at me. You're fine. So usually people start with something like 4 bridges at the beginning of training, 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 20. Do 4 bridges, try to get the glutes on. If you're coaching, oftentimes this means stabbing somebody in the butt with a pen so that their brain goes, that's the muscle that's supposed to fire. They call this sensory motor amnesia in gym training. Then they go to 2-handed swings, and then we do 2-handed swings for a while, but then we start doing 2-handed swings alternating back and forth with hand-to-hand swings, because when people go to hand-to-hand swings, their glutes try not to fire. So by warming up with bridges, doing 2-hand swings, Max is making laps around the yard. I don't know if you guys can hear that now. And then going to hand-to-hand swings, we give our body the greatest opportunity to learn to fire it in the correct order. Then we also start putting in single-arm club training, inside circle, outside circle, and shield cast. This is the other way we work with people. As people do inside circles and outside circle, either the same side glute or the opposite side glute will try to fire. So we work on firing front to back with kettlebells, and we work on lateral shift glute firing with clubs. These ideas work together back and forth to help people learn to fire their glutes. So yes, it is common for people to have a hard time firing their glutes when they do single arm swings. That's why we alternate with 2-hand swings, and that's why we tell everybody to do single arm club training as well. These ideas are meant to average out all of the drills meant to get people's glutes to fire, so that people's glutes come on. When their glutes come on, their core works better. When the core works better, the back pain goes away, they move better, they have better athletic potential in the shortest period of time. And the stretches that you would do at the end of training should start with something like forward fold, and then stretching the calf. Oftentimes people's calves will be so tight that their hamstring tries to stay on or whatever. So doing forward fold first, extend the spine with Sphinx, flex the spine with forward fold, stretch the calves, and then pigeon stretch. When will I have a Mace Flow program? I've been trying to get that shot forever. So what I've done with Mace Flow programs is take basic Mace Flow components and then just assemble them in a learning order, which I haven't seen anybody else do yet. So I hope to shoot some mid-October, early November to start getting those out, because I would like to put a Mace Flow program out every month for like 3 years and make 36 different Mace Flow programs, so that people could start at the beginning, run it with single arm club or with two hand club, and just keep going and have stuff to work on for years to come. Everything that I'm doing is trying to get people to multi-year programs, because people need shit to do for their entire life. And the more programs that we write and the better we make them interlock with each other, the more people are to believe in the idea and want to keep doing it. So therefore, they will build a healthy overall lifestyle. So the goal is to get Mace Flow programs shot October into November. That shoot is already scheduled. We just have a bunch of stuff on the docket. So the question is, which ones get shot first? I think. Lana, you're killing me, babe. Come on. I know. Life's so hard for you. In your giant own, she's got her own house. She literally has her own apartment. She has her own deck, her own backyard, her own pool. She's so put upon. Yes, I know, babe. Seed set, reminding everybody that they can join the Mark Wildman Discord forum, link in Mark Wildman's video description. Highly recommend everybody go over there to the Discord. There are some extremely knowledgeable people, and this is part of the learning technique that I want people to do. People need to be taught, they need to practice, and then they need to teach, right? So if you're going through all this information and you're learning it and you're internalizing these ideas, I would like people to go over to the Discord and to discuss it so that they learn to articulate the ideas in their own way. My goal isn't to make you guys copies of me. My goal is to make you guys better than I will ever be. The more of you I create out there who know everything I know and can articulate it and communicate it better than me by practicing communicating with each other on the Discord server, the better the message gets, the better the whole world will get. I know I'm trying to save the world in a stupid way by just trying to make everybody healthier and making everybody in control of their own ability to control their health in an economical way. But the goal is eventually to teach everybody here how to write their own program so that you guys will come up with things that you value more than me. I am a combined synthesis of all the coaches I've ever had, whether they be martial arts coaches, Aikido coaches, judo coaches, heavy club swinging coaches, circus coaches, mace coaches, although I really don't have any mace coaches other than Summer Huntington, kettlebell coaches, Pavel, Fedorenko, all these other guys, but I've distilled my ideas into what I think is the most important, and I do that by talking to people, by talking to you guys, and by discussing. I originally used to, help coach other people's seminars and things like that so that I could help learn to articulate their ideas as well. So everybody, highly recommend you go over to the Discord server, ask questions of each other, discuss, and work on how you're framing your answers and what you think is important, because you guys are probably going to accidentally, through discussion, discover a bunch of stuff that I don't know, and then you guys can tell me. And that's what we would like to happen. We would like you guys to become much better versions of coaches than I will ever be. That is the idea here. Daniel Wade, recommendations on hernia prevention or hernia treatment. Yes, everything I do. If you have had hernias in the past and hernia treatment in the past, then you need to start lighter. For a long time, that was very hard, but now with the advent of the competition adjustable kettlebell and with the 8X adjustable club, you can drop those weights way down because you're no longer, lowest weight for club is no longer 15. Now it's a 3.5, so it's way lighter. You can start your training over again and start and rebuild all your basic movement programs over again, 3.5, 5 pounds, 6.25, and work your way back up. If you've torn your abdominal wall in some way, then that's what you need to do. You need to subject it to extremely small loads a lot, 5 days a week, and you need to let it rebuild over the course of years in order to return to a full functional range of movement. That is a very important idea. When you get hurt, you repeat your training over again. You start it over. That's what happened to me when I ripped my leg in half and I didn't walk for whatever, 6 months, a really long time. I don't know. 3 surgeries over the course of a year, gimping around. I started all my training over again. I was snatching 88-pound kettlebells and single-arming 45-pound clubs and doing circus. And I ripped my leg in half, and I go back down to the lightest club I can get my hands on after all my physical therapy and being bedridden and everything else. Go back down to the 10. Run the whole thing over again, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's when I decided I needed to make 30s, 35. That's when I decided to make 40s, 45s, and walk your way all the way back up through and repeat all of your training over again, especially if you have something like hernia or even herniated disc. You need to restore movement. You need to do many small contractions, and you need to walk it up slowly over time. Hydrocore question from Greg74. If doing single arm club program and planning a 2-week vacation, is the hydrocore a reasonable option to maintain progress? Yes, 100%. Drag a hydrocore with you. Go ahead, fill it up with some water. Do 20 minutes. The next day, add a little bit of water. Go again. Do 2 weeks of hydrocore. Come back. Jump right back into your single arm club training. Absolutely. Hydrocore is a fantastic travel training option. We're going to have to close up here in just a couple minutes. We're going to be a little bit shorter than normal. I know I was a little bit late today. The dogs were driving me nuts. But I have to get over there and actually shoot some videos before I get on a plane tomorrow so that I can edit some videos while I'm on the plane tomorrow. And I only have access to a camera person for a little bit of time. Grant Gardner, there he is. He's our Lord of the Discord server. Grant Gardner, everybody say hi to Grant. N. Mills, kettlebell question. Been doing clean and press with 2 kettlebells. Like doing 1 thumbs back increases the depth, but with 2, the kettlebells bang together doing thumbs back. Yeah, your kettlebells are going to bang together. Yes, that happens. If you'll notice, watch all competition kettlebell guys. Their kettlebells are mangled in a midline of the bell where they slam together every time. There are different kettlebell techniques for doing double kettlebells. Double thumbs back is probably the easiest and the safest. Over time, that's probably going to change to a 45 degrees back. And barbell guys will try to get their hands towards parallel, but thumbs back is a safe way to do it. It changes the way your shoulders work. You'll see competition guys do thumbs up, but they have more training than most people who are watching this channel. And if you mess up thumbs up, then you will mess yourself up. Even when you're doing thumbs up, still smacking bells. The bells will smack together. It does make noise. Competition bells, it makes more noise. Competition bells are hollow, so they ring like bells. The pro kettlebells, the nicest kettlebells I've ever used, ring. I wrap rubber around the midpoint slam line of them on one of the bells, and that quiets them. But you're always going to be slamming bells together when doing double bells, whether it be double swings, double snatches, or double cleans. They will slam together and they will make noise. Quieting them down is done by rubber banding them, essentially. If you've got big inner tubes, you could chop them up, make big ranger bands to slap on the middle of the bells. That quiets them down quite a bit. Excellent, guys. Grant Gardner, as the admin of the Discord, definitely come and have fun. Yes, everybody go to the Discord, have conversations with each other, talk about your program design, and discuss with each other. The more you discuss, the better you will get, the more you will understand, and that is the idea. Yes, the goal here is to have you guys replace me eventually, and that's what we always want. We want you guys to go out and make videos and start teaching people and start spreading the word. You know, the word that we're spreading here is not much different than other people. Other people are just all kettlebell guys, so they're all club guys, so they're all mace guys. We're just trying to bring together those three ideas equally well and teach bodyweight get up and to focus our training on what we find to be the most important things. And we always want to discuss our economics, how much do things cost, how much time do things have, and can we track things and make them improvable over time. That is always what we're trying to do. Yes, so thank you guys very much. We've been on for about 80 minutes now. I'm going to have to get on the road because I desperately need to get to my video shoot on the other side of town. So I get to break everything down, get on my motorcycle, ride way, way, way too fast, which I love doing so much, get to my shooting location, knock out 3 videos, and then I need to go weld for an art project before getting on a plane to go teach. Everybody look at the FlowShala seminars page. We have more seminars coming up. Getting out and training in person is something I encourage everybody to do. It doesn't have to be my seminars. It can be anybody's seminars. It could be any topic. Go to a sewing seminar. Whatever needs to happen. The more we learn, the better we get. That's the idea of life. Get better, do more stuff, be better at everything. Have a good day, everybody. And